Coming up on From the Core, we visit a group of middle school students who wrote and produced their own play.
We discuss reasons for teen violence.
And we learn about one veteran who decided to help needy kids overseas.
These exciting stories and much more on this month's edition of
From the Core. Hello, and welcome to From the Core. I'm Natalie.
And I'm Swetha. Thanks for joining us.
Hey Swetha, are you interested in winning cash prizes?
Of course. Who couldn't use some extra money to help pay for college?
Well, you're in luck. Charis is at the TIS desk to tell us how to write our way to the top.
Bonjour. I'm Charis, and I want to tell you about a few things. First, I think that you should know bonjour is French for hello. Now, have you ever dreamed of writing that great American story? Do you see yourself winning a nationally recognized prize for your work? Well, it can happen. The Young Voices Foundation, a national organization dedicated to mentoring young writers all across America, holds annual contests to give students in various grade levels prize money and a chance to receive national recognition for a job well done. The most recent contest focuses on poetry and will end November 31st, 2011. More information on this and other writing contests can be found at youngvoicesfoundation.org. Recently, the northeastern area of the United States experienced a hurricane called Irene. Hurricane Irene led a path of destruction throughout New England with heavy rains, flooding, and winds of more than 50 miles per hour. Irene left behind many destroyed homes and thousands without power. Because of the immense strength and power of a hurricane, it can be hard to imagine what this type of storm looks like or even how they start. Hurricanes are huge storms that can be up to 600 miles across and have strong spiraling winds of 70 to 200 miles per hour. Hurricanes rotate in counterclockwise direction around an eye, or the center of a storm. You may have heard the saying, as calm as an eye of a hurricane. That saying is very true, because the eye of a hurricane is the calmest part of the storm with its light winds and fair weather. It can be very helpful to your family's safety if you take time to create a disaster family plan, because being prepared can make all the difference. The 2012 presidential election is just around the corner. Here are a few things you should know about the road to the White House. The process of electing a president was set up in the Constitution of the United States of America. The Constitution requires a candidate to be at least 35 years old, a natural-born citizen of the U.S., and a resident of the U.S. for at least 14 years. There are 4 major steps to becoming president of the United States. The first phase is primaries, where party members elect a representative based on their views and ideas to represent the party in an upcoming election. Next, each party holds a national convention to finalize the selection of the presidential nominee. At this time, each presidential candidate also chooses a running mate. During step 3 of the process, the general election begins. Candidates campaign throughout the country in an attempt to win the support of voters. Finally, in November, the people vote for one candidate. The voters are sent to a group of electors called the Electoral College. These electors vote for their state's preferred candidate. Each state's electoral college gets a certain number of electors according to the state's representation in Congress. Each state's electors will choose a candidate in December. Votes are counted January 6th, and whichever candidate receives more than half of the electoral college votes wins the election. I like our democracy, don't you? That's all for now. Thanks for watching. I'm Charis, and I just thought you should know. Ciao!
For 20 middle school girls in Hillsborough County, the end of the school year marked the beginning of their journey through a 6-week theater program.
There, outside voices are encouraged, and girls from different backgrounds come together and use their creativity to tell a story.
But this isn't just your average theater camp. FTC reporter Kaitlyn gives us some insight.
Dreaming big. That's one of the mottos of Girl Stories Leadership Theater, where 20 middle school girls learn about theater and are encouraged to tell powerful stories. Girl Stories Leadership Theater is a program for middle school girls. Founder Fran Powers talks about her reasons for creating Girl Stories.
I always wanted to do work with women and girls. It was always from the very beginning. Girls in particular, middle school girls, They're at that age when they could go one way or the other. You know, they're so full of being influenced. Just very keen interest in working with young girls and making them become leaders.
In 2008, Girl Stories, a branch of Power Stories Theater, was created. This program is a 6-week summer intensive that helps develop girls in all areas of theater.
Face out front. Let's see you really.
Jessica!
Yay!
Lisa Knopke, director of Girl Stories, discusses the intensity of this program and her experience working with the girls.
You come in, you start from square one, and you learn every aspect that we can possibly teach you concerning theater, concerning the community, getting along with one another, respecting one another. As they start out as individuals, and by the end of the program, they become a team.
The program also educates girls on good leadership qualities.
Our language every single day talks about leadership. The entire show has messages that are filled with leadership types of things. So how to get along, how to walk away when there's a conflict.
A major part of what makes Girl Stories special comes across during performances.
It's like whoosh. There's not really like a word to describe it. It's just like a rush.
Abby Huetteman, a member of Girl Stories, explains the theater troupe's focus.
Our target audience is elementary school kids.
Power says it is easy for the elementary school kids to relate to the middle school performers.
They are watching them with rapt attention. So our goal is that one of the messages that gets presented on stage by one of the girls in a story or in the dialogue is going to impact an elementary school girl.
Many of these messages delivered throughout the show are very heartwarming. These personal stories come from the girls' experiences and are called Power Stories. Gabrielle Harrison talks about her story.
My power story is about how I didn't get into a certain club in my school, but I worked really hard and I got to make another group in my school. And it's about, you know, when you really work hard, you'll get into the club or the activity that you want.
In 2010, Powers and her team received the National Arts and Humanities Youth Program Award. This is the highest honor that a program like Girl Stories can receive.
Wait! We have to stick together. We have to make the right choice here.
Powers knows that good stories can be found at any age. Power Stories deliver emotion, conflict, and a message.
And I want to add good health to the world.
These stories have the power to transform lives, including those of the girls, even long after the final curtain has closed for the summer.
They're part of a special group, and they know that. And so their body language is different. They just look a little stronger. They're walking more straighter. They're looking more confident. They're speaking more proudly. You know, so I know it's going to be affecting them in great ways in the future.
This is Kaitlyn reporting for From the Core.
For more information on the requirements or how to become a part of Girl Stories, visit powerstories.com. Now we move from teens doing the right thing to teens behaving badly. For this month's edition of Follow the Story, I am joined by Hockey Maston and Kaylin Price. They are both members of the Mayor's Youth Corps, and they are here with me to talk about teen violence and the various possible causes. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks.
Recently, around the globe, teens have been demonstrating acts of violence. Adolescents in Philadelphia have been assaulting others in the community. Also, there has been a bomb threat in one of our local high schools, and in the UK, there have been many mobs and riots initiated by teens. That brings us to our discussion. Hockey, how does the environment we grow up in affect our behavior?
Well, it affects our behavior it depends like how we grew up. If we grew up in a bad, home, it might happen to us when we grow up in our adulthood. But if we grow up in a good home, it's still, we might grow up in a good environment. But if it depends what decision we make. That's why I said the decision, if you make a right decision towards your future, it's towards how your life depends.
What do you think, Kaylin?
I think it depends also on how you're brought up, because you're only taught on what you know. And also it depends on yourself and your own beliefs. You're your own person and you can make your own decision.
Why do teenagers in stable household environments make rash and violent decisions?
I think one aspect to that is that teens whose parents constrict them and keep them confined or are strict towards them, they want to be free and they want to do the opposite of that. Teens at your teenage years, you want to have all of the freedom and all the responsibility that you can get. And so parents that do that, it kind of can corrupt a child sometimes.
Well, I think is that the teens now, they just want to make their own decisions, you know, because they think that parents are just holding them back, but they want to make their own decision, and the decision that they make is going to be a bad choice because they think they have wisdom, but our parents really have more wisdom than us because they've been out there and we haven't.
Speaking of responsibility, is it a good idea for teens to make personal finance plans?
Absolutely, because when you're a teenager and you get money, the chance you get to spend it, you want to spend all of it. So if you save and have a checking account and know how to manage your own money, you could be more responsible in the future.
Hockey?
I agree with that because you got to make a budget plan because you have all these things that you want, that you want, but you really need. So you need to save up money. You mostly want to put money in your savings account.
Why is it so difficult for kids to save money?
Because they like to buy what they want. Like, for example, they like to buy expensive stuff like iPads, iPods, technology, anything they want. They don't want to budget. They want to buy everything else that all the teens have.
Kaitlyn?
I think hockey's right. I think kids, when you're a teenager, again, and you have your own money, you want to do what you want with it. And once you see something that you like, you automatically want to spend it.
How do the two of you save your money? Let's start with Kaitlyn.
Okay. I'm not very good at that. It's hard to do that because, but I try to set some of it aside for something that I would really want, and then the rest of it I use for stuff that I need. So it's all about rationing your money and how you use it.
Well, I do is I write down on a piece of paper all the stuff that I need, my priorities first, and then and after that, I put some money aside in my bank account, and then for the rest, I just spend it if I want, what I want, and everything.
What tips do you have for our viewers who want to make a finance plan?
I would say to talk to your parents, talk to people who you trust, talk to elder people who have been there, who have done that, and just make sure you get different opinions and different views and different perspectives and find out what works for you.
I agree with her. You want to talk to your parents, your family members, and if you go to church, talk to your pastors because they have wisdom too. Always talk to someone that you trust.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Yes, it has.
Stay with us. There is more from the Corps after the break.
Kim was a social butterfly. She would talk to anyone online. I wonder what happened to Kim.
Ready, I'm on scene.
Beware of people you meet on the internet. You never know who you're talking to.
We're back. Swetha, have you ever realized how many people there are that really need our help?
You're so right, Natalie. From right here in Tampa to places all over the world, there are many people who need a helping hand.
FTC reporter Pedro visited with a man who was tired of sitting idly by and decided to take action.
While deployed in Afghanistan, retired Senior Master Sergeant Rex Temple was fighting the war on terror in two different ways. One side involved the use of force to help the Afghan people, the other bringing down the enemy one pen at a time. While on a humanitarian mission in one of the Afghan provinces, a chance encounter with an Afghan child led to an amazing experience.
This young boy, about 8 years old, came up to me, and I reached in my pocket and I tried to hand him a piece of candy. And he didn't want the candy. Instead, he kept staring at my sleeve. And on my sleeve was a ballpoint pen. And he would point to it and he'd say, "Golem, Golem." And I'm thinking, why is he so intrigued with a ballpoint pen?
Through the use of his interpreter, Mr. Temple found out that the child wanted to go to school, but was too poor to even buy school supplies. Mr. Temple gave the child a few pence. Later that day, Lisa Temple received a call from her husband. He asked her to send school supplies over to him in Afghanistan. Being a school teacher, she instinctively went to her colleagues for support.
And say, look through your classrooms, look through your bottoms of your drawers, give me all your leftovers, give me all your new stuff. And it was a wonderful way to be able to do something tangible to help my husband.
Through this chain of events, the School Supplies for Afghan Children project was created. In Afghanistan, school supplies are a major cost, and conditions in Afghan schools are not that great either. Mr. Temple says it's very different than what kids are used to in the United States.
I witnessed school being taught under a big shade tree. Other ones are fortunate to have a building, but there's no running water and no electricity.
These packages will make a total of 9 tons of school supplies sent to Afghan schools, but the true impact is immeasurable. You may wonder, how did the project receive 9 tons of school supplies? And how do those supplies get to Afghanistan? Well, schools and organizations across the nation hold drives that collect pens, pencils, notebooks, and other school supplies. Next, the supplies are packed and shipped here in the U.S. Then, they are sent to Afghanistan through the U.S. Postal Service. Once on Afghan soil, things get difficult.
You have to receive permission first to go into that village and to see if they want your school supplies, or if they'll permit you to deliver those school supplies.
Although Mr. Temple has been on many missions, he never gets tired of handing out school supplies.
Well, it's very rewarding when you have the opportunity to personally deliver and see the smiles on their faces. It's an intangible feeling.
Many of these school supply drives take place in the Tampa Bay area, from elementary school all the way up to the college level. Emily Perso, a senior at Tampa Preparatory School, explains why she donated at her school's school supply drive.
I decided to contribute to this project because it's such an easy thing to do, donating supplies from school. I have so much of that sitting around my house that I might as well do something good with it all.
If you live within the Tampa Bay area and would like to get involved, you can bring your donations to WUSF Studios. You can also get involved by visiting AfghanistanMyLastTour.com and clicking on the School Supplies for Afghan Children tab. This is a simple and easy thing for local youth to do to support the future leaders of Afghanistan. This is Pedro reporting for From the Core.
Mr. Temple's story is truly empowering. Thanks, Pedro, for that report. When FTC returns, we spotlight another unsung superstar of history.
So, that test?
It was crazy. What is that?
Whoa.
Why would he purposely make us all fail?
Really?
I'm
sorry.
What is this? Is that how this is going to be?
What is your problem?
You have issues. You're going to pay for this.
Whoa, what's going on here?
So, like, that test?
It was crazy. Like, what is that?
Whoa.
Why would he purposely make us all fail?
When you need to curb your anger, take a deep breath, relax, think before you speak, and walk away.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm just running the class. Okay.
See you around.
Remember, hot heads never win. Welcome back to From the Core. Connor Rigsby is here with me to tell us about this month's Unsung Superstar of History. So who is your Unsung Superstar of History, Connor?
His name is Estevanico, and he was a 16th century explorer.
Can you tell me about his early life?
I'd love to. Well, he was born in 1490 in Morocco. He was raised as a Muslim, and at the age of 23, he was sold into slavery to the Portuguese. 7 years later, he was sold to a man named Dorantes. Dorantes was a Spanish nobleman, and he journeyed with him for the next couple years.
Where did he go on an expedition?
Well, initially they traveled to the continental United States and landed right here in Tampa Bay area, right here in Florida. And that was in 1527, I do believe.
What was the goal of that expedition?
Well, it was to claim more land underneath the Spanish crown and expand the Spanish Empire's understanding of how the world operated and how vast the scope of the world was.
What happened?
Well, unfortunately, once they left Florida, they traveled down to Mexico, and along the expedition, most everyone died of either starvation, malnutrition, or murder. So, didn't go so well.
Where did they go after the expedition?
Well, afterwards, they traveled to what is now Texas and New Mexico, and actually, Estevanico was the first one to step foot into the continental United States and the first African man to explore the southwestern United States.
Why was this trip so important?
Well, it was important to expand the Spanish Empire's understanding of the New World, as well as explore the southwestern United States, which hadn't been done at this point. And so that led to new discoveries, advancements in cartography, and just an overall advancement in the knowledge that we have about our world.
How did he die?
Well, unfortunately, while in the southwestern United States, he befriended a group of Indians, and one day when he was with the Indians, he was wearing owl feathers, which are viewed from that Indian tribe as an omen. And so they believed him to be evil or possessed by an evil spirit, and therefore they killed him.
Did he ever escape slavery before his death?
Well, actually, in 1536, he was released from slavery when he made it to New Mexico City, and he met up with Cortez. And there he was actually released, but only to die 3 years later, so didn't live as a free man for long.
What lessons can be learned from his story?
Well, I think it's a great story of perseverance. You know, at an early age, he was enslaved and forced to convert his religion. And things that, most people nowadays, if that happened to them, they would kind of give up on hope and just live their life out in sorrow. But Estevanico had a positive attitude, and he took that can-do attitude and was like, I'm not going to let this get me down, and he explored the continental United States, and I think that he was a lot better off from it and made, many new friends and many new experiences, and I think we all have something to learn from that.
Estevanico was quite the adventurer. Thank you so much for joining me, Connor.
No problem.
Swetha and I will be back right after this.
I present to you Algebra 2, Foreign Languages, and finally, Biology. Who among you will step up to their challenge?
Me.
Me too.
Take on the tough classes now. You need them to prepare for college.
Here at From the Core, we encourage teens in expressing their unique passions and ideas.
Today, our commentator is Austin Yarnell. He is here to talk with us about all of the exciting teams that we have right here in the Tampa Bay area.
When asked last March in an open forum what she thought Tampa was known for, outgoing Mayor Pam Ioro said that she believed Tampa is known as a sports town. She went on to elaborate that Tampa is among a lucky few cities in the U.S. to possess 3 major sports teams, represented by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Lightning, and Rays. Last season, the Bucs went 10-6, led by young talent on the offensive end, with Josh Freeman, Mike Williams, and LeGarrette Blount leading the way. Despite some success, the bad play of the past years, including a 3-13 season in 2010, hurt fan attendance tremendously. The Bucs weren't able to sell out a single home game last season, and fans suffered local television blackouts and had to resort to watching the games via the internet. The Rays, after years of being the laughingstock of Major League Baseball, have emerged as one of the best teams in baseball. In the 2010 season, the Rays returned to the playoffs, only to lose to the Texas Rangers in the first round in 5 games. The offseason was very hectic for the Rays, who lost many of their big-name players to free agency. Even though they lost many cornerstones of their franchise, the Rays have had a fair season. The third sports team in Tampa, the Lightning, recently went all the way to the finals of the Eastern Conference, only to lose in Game 7 by 1 goal. The Lightning, led by third-year pro Steven Stamkos, who last year led the NHL in goals scored, played well this season. Like the Bucs, the Lightning have also suffered from poor attendance, typically selling out games only against top-echelon teams. Even with trouble filling the seats, Tampa's teams are doing what's most important in sports, winning. With the success of their rebuilding programs, the Lightning, Rays, and Bucs have once again entered the national spotlight, and with youth being the base of their success, the teams are here to stay, and hopefully will soon bring a championship to Tampa Bay area once again.
That's our commentary for this month and the end of our show.
Thanks to the FTC crew and to all of you watching at home.
We leave you with information about writing, performing, and producing a play,
the possible cause of teen violence,
and the early exploration of North America.
We hope you've enjoyed what we had to say.
Remember, wherever you are, whatever you are doing, always do your part.
We'll be back soon with another edition of From the Core.